I just saw The Darkest Hour. It was Joe Wright directed and Gary Oldman starred in this movie. And so the first thing I want to say is it was a great story. Gary Oldman was great as Winston Churchill. And it's sort of the story that led up to that famous speech of, you know, we will never surrender.
We shall never surrender!
And I think the story was really good, and I think the acting was good. The writing was pretty good. I feel like Joe Wright, the director, made some creative choices that I didn't like. It was sort of like overly creative. It's like, I think what was compelling about this particular story was like the reality of it. And there was like the creativity that the director brought to it, like the interesting camera shots or the interesting shadowing or lighting and camera movements. Like all of that for me was like, why is he trying to like dress this up? It just felt off to me. It didn't it like took me out. Like I'm like, why is this director doing this? Why is he moving the camera? Why am I looking through people typing at someone's face? Like I know they're all like flares and he's trying to make it visually interesting, but it almost feels like he felt like his own story wasn't interesting. And so he's like, I'm gonna make it flashy so that everyone thinks this thing is interesting. But it was a fascinating story, and it depicted real leadership. Someone was like standing for something. And
You cannot reason with a tiger when your head is in its mouth!
There were some things that there's other things that didn't work. Sort of they have a character in it who's this typist who's sort of like access to the story, right? So she comes in, and that's supposed to be you in your seat. You get to see the inner workings of the government and how Churchill's coming up with stuff and all this stuff, and she's a typist. But then ultimately she is like one of the compelling factors for him to sort of like go for what he wants. And he has this his wife who's in the movie, who's like does a lot of great stuff with her with the time she has, but why not make her the compelling factor that has him change? It's almost like we're going to give her great things to say, but she's not the one. So I don't know, I thought that was sort of a missed opportunity. Look, all that being said, it's getting a lot of critical acclaim for this, and I think a number of the shots are incredibly artistic and beautiful. So I'm not trying to say that it wasn't beautiful. I'm just saying that the beauty, like the exaggerated beauty, took me out of the reality of this situation. So anyway, and I know he's trying to do stuff where it's like, let my imagery elicit the emotion that was going on at the time. Fine, I got it. It just was like over the top for me, so it took me out of it. But yeah. So all that being said, I give it like a 75 out of 100. It was very good. Not great for me, but very good. That's it.